Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric. Universal Orlando Resort in Orlando, Florida is one of the most famous theme park complexes in the world. It opened originally with Universal Studios Florida, then the second gate Islands of Adventure opened 10 years later, and just this year, the third park, Epic Universe, opened to the public. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 10 very best rides at all three parks. There's not much more to say before jumping into it, but know that it's my opinion. I prioritize certain types of rides over others, and that will become clear throughout. Let's begin. Number 10 is Revenge of the Mummy, the best ride at the Studios park in my opinion. There are other very good ones there, some of my favorites being Men in Black Alien Attack, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, and The Simpsons ride. But Revenge of the Mummy is easily the best experience at Universal Studios. The story is pretty simple, but it is compelling, and there's a lot of humor to it, especially with that very final scene with Brendan Fraser. The main roller coaster portions also have surprising speed to them. It's a fully indoor coaster, and it is technically pretty family friendly, but the ride feels like it's so fast in the dark even when it's really not. The theme rooms might be the best part though. They are all beautiful and creative, whether it's that very first one where you see the undead rise up and fire behind them, or the scream with the Beatles that sends you backwards, or my personal favorite, the fake ride operator that gets killed by the mummy. It's all iconic. My biggest critique is that the backwards section leads into some odd pacing, unfortunately, where you have to kind of slowly turn around in a very unthemed area. Still, the roller coaster is otherwise very well themed with a great story, and for the most part it takes advantage of that dark indoor setting, crafting one of the best rides of the resort. Number 9, Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls. It pains me to put this one so low. I absolutely love it. It is actually my favorite water ride I've ever been on. It's the perfect mix of stylish theming and soaking fun. Some areas don't have that much going on necessarily, but they're brief, and they're interspersed with tons of simple show scenes with great designs for the figures and lots of fun jokes. The story is easy to follow, even given the character being somewhat obscure in the modern day. Furthermore, the main facade is stunning, and you travel all around it, getting to enjoy it both on and off ride. The highlight though might be the thrills. The first drop is completely in the dark, and not only tied to a very funny joke, but also genuinely startling the first time I rode it. Then there's the good middle drop, and the final one with a great sense of speed and a huge splash. This water ride is so much fun, and the theming is great without sacrificing any thrills, so it is very much my favorite of its type. Number 8, Hiccup's Wing Gliders. The first Epic Universe ride on this list, it is an exceptional family coaster. If you're familiar with How to Train Your Dragon, you will enjoy the scenery, the well-made show scenes, the fun audio commentary from the main character, and the powerful music. If you don't know How to Train Your Dragon, you'll enjoy the scenery, the well-made show scenes, the fun audio commentary from the main character, and the powerful music. You really can't lose with this ride. It's not record-breaking, and there's nothing it does that another roller coaster on this list that I'll get to later doesn't do, but it's amazing at what it sets out to accomplish. I smiled the whole way through the experience, and even though it's not super thrilling, I would take it over many thrilling roller coasters just for being a pure fun experience. Number 7 is Minecart Madness. Slightly beating out Hiccups, I find this roller coaster a bit more fun and even more scenic. I am less familiar with Donkey Kong Country than How to Train Your Dragon, but I still love the experience. The facade is gorgeous, even outdoing Dudley Do-Right's in my opinion. While on the ride, the music is not the powerful How to Train Your Dragon score, but it's jazzy and fun, and the sound effects indicating when you're jumping over track really enhance that gimmick. This ride might be outdoors, but for the most part it's easy to forget that you're so high above the real track, even when it's right there. These show scenes and animatronics all look great, and while the ride is not paced like a standard roller coaster and can be janky, I think that only adds to the idea that you're on a wild minecart ride. My whole party was having a blast on this one, and while it's certainly a more divisive ride that I doubt is in many top 10s, it certainly appeals to me as one of the most unique, fun, and beautiful rides at the resort. Number 6 is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Easy number 1 for many, I'm sure. Hagrid's is a more thrilling roller coaster and a more elaborately themed one than the last two I mentioned. It was the most expensive coaster ever built at its time, thanks to the expansive plot of land and many show scenes. You see a ton of animatronics in the ride, and while very few of them are among Universal's best, if any, they are all well designed and fun to see. The main roller coaster portions are also a blast. Not only thanks to the decently powerful launches and sharp turns through the forest, but also the onboard audio with suspenseful music and amusing commentary from Haggard himself. However, my favorite scene is actually the indoor portion that feels the most like a dark ride. It takes you deep into the forest, featuring an eerie atmosphere, some very fun figures, and a solid interactive element where Haggard has you repeat a magic spell in order to escape. This ride is not as thrilling as my favorite coasters in the park, and not as engaging as the best dark rides, so I can't quite put it in the top 5, but it is still very much a great ride. Number 5 is Monsters Unchained: The Frankenstein Experiments. Now we're really talking. I'm not a dark ride enthusiast at all, especially compared to roller coasters, but Monsters Unchained is fantastic. I talk about it extensively in a full review of the ride, but to highlight some important points, the sets and animatronics are stellar, and they are the star of the show in the technical form. There are screens as well, and they're not bad, but the best scenes are those with the fantastic and fluid monster figures. The ride system lets you get so close to some of them, and I love those moments. However, I think this ride is especially elevated by the story and characters. The new characters are reimaginings of the classic Frankenstein ones, and they have so much personality, leading to great jokes throughout the ride, and making the actual plot a lot more interesting. Without the pre-shows and the life given to these characters, it would just be a tour of the catacombs where you see some monsters and watch as an outside observer. Instead, the ride puts you into the story and makes you care more about what's going on. Furthermore, the added humor and grand scale make this feel like a very action-packed ride, kind of like watching a monster movie. It's a brilliantly crafted ride, and while there are certain scenes that lack substance or are a little rushed, there's no doubt that Monsters Unchained is one of Universal's best dark rides. Number 4 is The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. If you've seen my review of Monsters Unchained or Battle at the Ministry, you know this one's hands down my favorite dark ride ever. To talk about everything that makes Spider-Man a perfect experience would take a full video, but the ride is everything I love about a dark ride. There are great physical sets. The ride system lets you feel like you're right in the action right from the get-go. The story is easy to follow and engaging the whole way through. Certain effects are still mind-blowing to this day. The animation is fantastic, even though the ride is screen-based, it never feels tacky. And above all else, this ride is funny. It goes all in on stupid comic book style jokes, and it results in the best lines of dialogue of any theme park ride, such as, "Nice shades," "You're in for a shock," and "Things are just starting to heat up," all brought to life by stellar voice acting that deserves a lot more credit. Spider-Man is pure fun and a technical marvel at the same time. I have no problems with it, and even though I'm very partial to roller coasters, I almost put it in the top 3. Number 3 is the Incredible Hulk Coaster, or as many call it, Hulk. The weakest of the great thrilling roller coasters, Hulk is an adrenaline rush. Right from the launch out of the tunnel where you hear the roar, you're in for a wild ride. This ride is super intense, one of the most intense by its manufacturer, B&M. The zero-G roll is awesome, the Cobra roll is insane, the vertical loop is probably among the best of its kind, and the ride is further enhanced by its setting and music. You get close to the main lagoon during the Cobra roll, and you circle around the awesome structure that contains the launch. The music is so intense and powerful, to the point where when it's still kind of playing on the brake run, my adrenaline stayed sky high even after the ride was over. The ride's second half is less fast and not as intense as the first, but it's still solidly fun and brought to life by the music. This ride is not as technically impressive as Spider-Man, but as a roller coaster enthusiast above all else, it just rocks. Number 2 is Stardust Racers, the best ride at Epic Universe and even better than Hulk, not by a small margin either. The launches are even more powerful than Hulk, and there are more moments of aggressive airtime on this one. I love that feeling of getting thrown out of your seat, so this ride just appeals to me as a thrilling roller coaster even more than Hulk. However, the ride's key strength is the fact that there are 2 tracks with trains interacting with each other. The Celestial Spin is one of the coolest inversions ever built, because you get to watch another coaster go directly over you, and you get to pass over it yourself. It's so cool to go upside down in that unique way, and the tracks are constantly going right next to each other or crossing over each other. It's a breathtaking experience. Additionally, the ride has whimsical music, and the experience feels so much more magical than any other roller coaster I've done. This ride is not highly themed at all, but it does give you a very unique experience that almost does feel ethereal because of every element of the design. This ride is something special. It's not like any other roller coaster I've done, while still providing the things that I love most about thrilling roller coasters. But number 1 is Velocicoaster. It's one of my favorite roller coasters and frankly, favorite rides ever. The theme and story are super well done, especially for such a big, thrilling ride. It all just makes sense. The queue gets you interested with the Easter eggs, screens, and animatronics, and the ride itself is near perfect in every way. The first launch is not the fastest, but it's still powerful and leads into only great elements. The first half is entirely in the Raptor paddock, and that's brilliant. I love the airtime, hang time, and sharp turns, but the fact that you are speeding through the paddocks, even getting up close to the Raptors, that makes it feel alive. This is a ton of fun, but the second half is what really kicks things into high gear. The second launch really pushes you into the back of your seat, and as the train crests the enormous top hat and slows down, you get ready for the ride of your life. After you drop, you traverse an unthemed but incredible adventure around the Jurassic Park area and the edge of Wizarding World. The speed is wild, yet it's glass smooth as a ride, so it feels like a controlled insanity. The inversions in the second half are both awesome. The stall holding you upside down over the main path is stellar, and the Mosasaurus roll is one of my favorite moments on any roller coaster. Simply put, this is one of my favorite roller coasters I've ever been on, and it still has all the strengths of a Universal ride in terms of storytelling and theming. Therefore, it is easily my number one ride at Universal Orlando Resort. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment down below your list of Universal rides and any questions you may have, and check out my many videos about the new Epic Universe Park. Subscribe for more theme park videos. I'll see you next time.